I've seen journalists run cover for a lot of games in my day, but I don't think I've ever seen it be more prevalent than I have with Avowed. The cope is real, and I thought it was just going to be like a minor blip in the grand scheme when I made my initial take talking about how Avowed looks like it might not be as great as what everyone was hoping for, and falling perfectly in line with my insiders telling me that internally at Obsidian, they weren't very excited about this game, no matter what they were saying externally. The game itself was not really all that great. Now we see a few days later how the numbers aren't really supporting the game itself, and the incredible levels of cope from not just some of the press, but also the player base that's just upset at people talking about reality for what it is. And you got to ask yourself at the end of the day, will people ever come to a point where they get to coming to grips with how this game is mid? Hit that subscribe, give me a like, and yes, I am trying a new format out right now because I just want to get a video out on this situation to follow up on the insane levels of cope that I don't think I've ever seen before in my life when it comes to just fronting for a game and saying, it's great, just don't talk about it, just let people play games, let them enjoy it, and don't be mean and say mean words about stuff. And I'm like, okay, that's fine, you can play whatever the hell you want to play, I'm not going to stop anybody. But that doesn't mean we can't talk about why the game isn't that great. Heading over to SteamDB, we see as of about half an hour ago, there's 18,339 in it. Let me refresh this. As of right now, we got 18,000, almost 600, and we're at around 1 p.m. Pacific time on Saturday, February 22nd, 2025. This game has all but completely bombed. Like, this is the worst I could ever imagine seeing the numbers for a game that's coming out of Microsoft Studios Obsidian, known for making incredibly great RPG experiences over the years, to release what amounts to a flop, not even surpassing 20,000 players concurrently on Steam, which is just outright embarrassing. This is a game that I was like, the worst it could possibly do, like lowest expectations on opening weekend would be 25,000, maybe 27,000. At the bare minimum, 25,000 would be the floor concurrent, and that would be a terrible flop. We're not even hitting 20,000 right now, and we're past midway through on a Saturday. This game is all but dead. And I know there's a lot of cope right now, not just from the gaming journalists themselves, but also gamers. There's a lot of gamers out there that are trying to pretend that it's not as bad as it really is, saying, no, I'm playing it on Game Pass, and Game Pass is where everyone's playing this game. That's where it's all making its money back, is Game Pass. That's why nobody's buying this game. It's Game Pass, guys. To which I'd say, yeah, it is Game Pass. Do you think they're really making very much money if people are picking up a monthly subscription for $15 to test out this game and be like, yeah, no, this ain't for me, and then leaving? I don't really see how that is going to directly correlate to income coming to Obsidian specifically, but hey, you do you. Anyway, so from this, I posted, oof, Avowed isn't faring any better on the weekend, to which people have started replying. Let me refresh this just to get the newest ones. We got Carl saying, come on, Smash. We all know Steam isn't reflective of Game Pass numbers, and this is definitely one to utilize Game Pass to play. And I said, Game Pass is not a program I would be hanging my financial hat on if I were a AAA game company. And they replied, all Microsoft studios are a part of it. $600 million per month is a financial hat that Microsoft likes. Corman replied, $600 million divided among around 400 games is about $1.5 million for Avowed. At $70 a copy, that's around 21,500 units. At that rate, it's almost 4 years to reach 1 million copies sold. Does that scream success story to you? Carl said, except it doesn't get split up evenly, talking about how indies get less. And then Corman says, that's your assumption. Maybe they made all $600 million and will be a multi-billion-dollar dev studio by the end of the year, and all devs will own private islands. Or Microsoft could actually show us their numbers, aka stream charts. Until then, Game Pass is meaningless. And Daddy Beefcake said, check out Pillars of Eternity and its sequel Deadfire. And I checked it. They're about 1K each in those games. Not doing crazy numbers, but still respectable for older games. Discussed things that apparently releasing a game that looks like it's in beta state and has the immersion level of a Blender tutorial doesn't correspond with passionate gamers. And hey, I got something to say. Said, yep, it seems like someone with a clear outlook on this could have prevented Microsoft from losing money. Dr. Pika, hey Wokies, care to explain? Python Bacon, it's mid, they say. Who has time to play an boring-ass mid-game? Instead, I'd rather fire up a great game I've completed multiple times. And it goes on and on and on. They get pretty funny, and they go to explaining the differences between the two. And the game itself is not great. Ultimately, you could come back to saying that this is, by all accounts, a flop, which gets me to my next point. And this is why I want to make a follow-up video on this, because this was frustrating. I made this video the other day, and it got attempted to be community noted, saying that Avowed did not flop since it is a success of Steam sales alone. Successful games that have recently launched is talking about how Game Pass is where everyone's playing it, so you can't call it a flop. But no, that's just more cope. Then we get to Pirate Nation saying, PC Gamer, shield for Avowed. PC Gamer said, too many RPGs don't get that. Choices that matter isn't just about cause and effect, but Avowed does. And you get into this article, and what do they talk about? Oh, it's just, this game is good for me, so don't be mean in saying that it didn't sell very much, because it's good. You should try it. Play this game. I enjoy how it allows me to make the decisions, and I really can relate to this game. I see myself in it, and it's amazing. And for the author, what was her name? Lauren, I'm happy for you, Lauren. I'm glad that you see yourself in this game and find enjoyment with it. But the vast majority of people that I've been talking to have been saying the exact opposite of that. And when you start getting a clash with people that you trust in the gaming community that say the game is mid by all accounts, a wealth of experience, and they're telling you, don't play this game. Instead, go play Skyrim. And if you've beaten Skyrim, go play Skyrim again. That's a problem. Why would somebody pay $70 or even fire up Game Pass and spend not the money? Here's the thing. It's not even about the money. Why would they spend the time on a game that is not as good as a game that came out 20 years ago? And we have even more cope. This one comes from WCCF Tech saying, Avowed sales make Obsidian happy so far. Game director would love to do more with the world. And this talks about how Obsidian Entertainment and Xbox Studios officially has their first game out for 3 days. It's now, I think, 4 days at this point, maybe 5. It's not doing very well. But don't let that stop the game director, Carrie Patel, saying, oh, we're happy with the sales so far. Do you really think Carrie's first game that she would come out and say, sales really aren't that good. We're not doing as well as we thought we would. We kind of screwed the pooch on this one. Maybe we'll do better next time. No, of course not. She's going to run cover for it and say, oh, yeah, sales are great. Just like in the pre-sales before the game even launched. Before that, she was like, oh, internally, we're very excited about this game. Everyone knows it's a great experience, and we're going to really show the world how much fun we're having with the builds and the characters that we have. And it's an amazing experience. If people just give it a shot when it comes out, we know you'll feel the same way. But then I heard that, and I'm like, well, based off of my multiple insiders over at Obsidian that reported back to me saying, internally, the culture is saying that the game is, by all accounts there, mid. Like, even internally at Obsidian, they were saying the game is really not that great. I had one person that was saying the game itself, if they were objective about it, was probably around a 6 out of 10. If they were going to be really generous, like a 6.5 out of 10 at best. All right. That doesn't fly in a world of games where there are better experiences out there to be played. And ultimately, that's where the failure in Avowed lies. It's not because the game itself isn't like the greatest game ever. It's because there are better games to play and people have a finite amount of time to play them. And all the while, We keep seeing more and more articles continuing to come out talking about how Avowed's great, guys. Give it a chance. It does something that the other games don't do. Oh my God. Carrie Patel, the director, saying it's great. Everyone just needs to play the game and you'll love it. Meanwhile, listening to YouTubers that have been playing these games for decades upon decades is saying, no, it's not. It's all right. Like, it's mid at best, maybe a little bit better than mid, but why would you play this? And ultimately, that's why the game is completely flopping. Then you head over to Metacritic and you see that the generally favorable reviews coming from the 71 critics giving it an overall 80 out of 100 score. And the first thing I think of when I hear that is, well, hell, that's exactly what they did with Dragon Age the Veilguard. That's curious. And sure, Dragon Age the Veilguard had user scores are generally unfavorable at a 3.9. It started around a 6.5, 6.8 for Dragon Age the Veilguard, and as time went on and more users started playing the game and reviewing it, it gradually dropped down further and further and further. So sure, I could have predicted this before the game even launched, that it was going to do exactly this, where it would be around a 6 or a 7 from the users, and we're right in the middle almost with a 6.8, and it will most likely be working its way down as time goes on. It's not a great look. Anyways, I'm going to leave it there. I hope you guys like this new format of me just trying to talk to you on this, and we'll see if I do this more often than not, depending on the type of topic that I'm going to be talking about, and also covering stuff on live streams as well. Appreciate all the support. If you haven't already, please consider hitting that subscribe button. Much love to you guys, and as always, you stay smashing. Smash,